Are you ready to listen to a podcast?
Here comes the Playhouse Podcast, thanks to Bradshaw and Bryan Law Offices.
Find, subscribe, and listen.
Hey, coming up in the podcast here at 18 minutes in, are you really killing your family with the food that you might be keeping in your car? Got to catch that. Plus, at about 30 minutes into the podcast, is someone frogging you? And what the hell does that really mean? It's time to find out. Let's go. I hate to sound all somber, but ever since I broke my neck, I've been thinking about death a lot.
That's terrible.
Yeah, I know, but I read the story. There's like 3 of them I've read this week about giant brawls breaking out at funerals.
Yes, I've heard about this
I was like, you got to be kidding me. So I kind of played this back in my head about 20 minutes ago. As my cold, lifeless body is laying there in a wooden box, or they've burned me up and put me in a jar, or whatever the deal is. I think I want to be cremated.
Okay.
I think paying for a casket is kind of silly. But as my ashes are sitting there on some kind of pedestal in the front of a church, would it be entertaining to see my family come to fisticuffs over something as sad as losing a loved one?
No.
Would that make a dead person? Is that happiness?
That's very
on the way out.
Disgusting. But to have, you know what they're fighting about? They're fighting about money.
Maybe,
probably.
Or they cared so much about you that they don't want to see you go that they decided to beat the piss out of somebody else.
Not a chance.
No?
Nope. It's about your money. But the thing is, like,
I wish I had some.
I would expect behavior like this at a funeral. The emotions are heightened. You're very sad. If somebody else isn't reacting the way you want them to, you're going to lose it. I don't understand when it happens at Chuck E. Cheese. That's where I don't understand. But like funerals, I get it. Or even weddings. If there's a wedding brawl, you have 2 completely different families.
Weddings are different because you got a lot of booze involved.
Yeah.
You're not boozing nearly as much at a funeral.
I think you do. I think a lot of people get drunk before funerals because it helps you.
You know
cope.
what? I was at one funeral where there was like a small amount of tailgating beforehand.
Yeah.
Just because it was a younger guy that had passed away and a bunch of guys out there and they tailgate down. Hey, want a Busch Light before we go in there? Yeah, it was Timmy's favorite beer. But all of these things in the news about people getting in giant fights. Here's the biggest problem. What if your brawl spills into the aisle at the church and up towards the casket?
Yeah.
Those things aren't on like a very stable situation. Usually they're rolled in on those little rollers, right? What if that casket tips over and that body rolls out?
Like Death at a Funeral. Have you watched that?
No, has that happened?
You've never seen it with Chris Rock?
Body rolls out?
Peter Dinklage is like the gay lover of the dad, and they didn't know that he had this other side, and so he'd like just show up, and there's this little man in the back of the and everyone's crying, and no one understands, and no one wants to believe that the dad had another life, and James Marsden is high, and he's like seeing lawn ornaments running around. It's so funny.
Did they really knock the body out of the casket?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
It's so funny.
As I was thinking about this, we were approached this morning about a potential sponsorship for the Playhouse. And I'm kind of thinking about it. They call it the Wacky Casket.
If you think your family could start a massive brawl during the funeral service of a loved one, then you need the Wacky Casket. The Wacky Casket. It rocks. It rolls. The Wacky Casket will cause such a distraction, the family fighting will stop just long enough to complete the service. And with the Wacky Casket, your deceased family member will literally be rolling over in their grave. The Wacky Casket, putting the fun back in funerals.
I like it.
Can you help me? Can you help me? Can you help me? Everybody!
All right, we know a little, but we don't know the whole thing, so I'm glad you could come on the show here, Jamie. Break down, again, what's going on with your family right now and how we can help.
Okay, so my husband was like super excited the other day because my son came home and said he wanted to do a fall sport.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which, like, he's never really been into sports. He's not really, like, the athletic type, usually.
Yeah.
So nothing really ever stuck. He was never really into any sports. And my husband's, like, this huge football fan. So
Sure.
he was all excited that he was going to be on the football team.
Sure.
Turns out he's actually interested in joining the cheerleading team and being a mascot and then being a male cheerleader for part of it too. So
now this hits close to home because Kat's husband
was the first
ever male cheerleader at his high school.
Yeah, but he wasn't so much the cheerleader; he was a mascot. So
yeah,
it wasn't so much that. But
is your husband having a problem with this?
Yeah, only just because he's so concerned about him getting bullied, about it being like a girly sport, you know how kids are and everything, and he just doesn't want him to get picked on, and he was hoping he could like bond with him and do the whole football thing together. So it's kind of like just a mix of that, I guess.
Isn't that weird? Like when you find out you have a kid, you make plans for them, you know, and then when things don't turn out like they are in your head, sometimes you're like, oh, dang it. But I mean, this could be something that they bond. They could go to other sporting events and check out the cheerleaders. Male cheerleaders at like massive levels.
At the collegiate level? These guys are,
real athletes.
They're here's the hard part. I hate to say this because in a perfect world, your son could do this and he'd never get bullied. But man, I hate to say it, but there's a good chance that because he's doing something different, somebody that is narrow-minded in that school is going to make it a problem for him.
So is he the only guy on this cheerleading team?
No, I think there's like a handful of guys.
Okay, that makes it easier then, right?
That does make it easier.
There's strength in numbers, so I agree with that. But man, this is an interesting spot. So let's turn this over to our listeners. If you're the dad and the mom here, how do you support this kid to be able to do what he wants, knowing full well that there's probably going to be a couple of speed bumps and potholes in this? All right, we're going to throw this out there. What I do is just turn up your radio. You're going to hear everybody's response next, okay?
Okay, thank you, guys.
Can you help me? Can you help me? Can you help me? Everybody!
OPP is other people's problems. Heard from Jamie a couple of seconds ago, and basically she said, here's the deal. My husband is super into football, and my son has never really been an athlete, but this year he said he wanted to do something in the fall, and he wants to be a male cheerleader and maybe even kind of do the mascot thing. So my husband wanted to bond with him if he played football. You know, there's kind of like a natural dude thing going on there, but he also doesn't want him to get picked on, and he knows that some of the kids are going to be pretty relentless in school if he becomes a male cheerleader. So we said, all right, let's throw this out, and our audience is always really cool about giving advice on something like this. What would you do?
Well, I think to already put shame on it in the sense that you are vocalizing that he will be bullied, I think is the wrong route to go. Act interested in whatever your kids are interested in. If it's a positive thing. Kim had texted, people praise girls that can make it in a guy's sport. Why is this even an issue? And yes, it is a sport. He could be locking himself away from the world playing video games all day. He's going to be out and about, which is so true, Kim. I mean, you just got to think about what you're about to say to your child, and the lack of support is going to say more than you don't say.
Troy, on the other hand, said, urge him to play football. You know this is going to end poorly. It's our job as a parent to support them and to protect them.
I don't think you know how it's going to end up. Jess, I would love for you to give us a ring because this is first-hand account in your case as well. We would love to hear your side of it. But how do you think this dad should be approached by Jamie? I think she needs to say, suck it up, buttercup. Shut your mouth if you have nothing positive to say to our child.
This is a weird phenomenon. How do you, if you know your son is going to get picked on?
You don't know, though. You're not a psychic. You can't tell the future. You don't know that. Are people going to say certain things? But yes, you know how kids
are really, 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 really mean.
Liam's in football. You know how they talk to each other? I mean, they're going to pick on each other no matter what, if they're in a hardcore boys sport or if they're in cheerleading.
What I'm saying is that unless this kid goes to the only perfect school on the planet, which doesn't exist, somebody is going to say something.
You know who I think will benefit? The girls on this cheerleading team. Guys bring, and I hate to say it, sometimes levity to a situation. If they're teasing each other about certain things and harassing each other about certain things, because girls can be girls and horrible, then he might do them a favor.
Hey, Jess, thanks for giving us a couple of minutes. What were your thoughts on this?
Actually, I come from a small town in Minnesota, about population 1,200 people. Mm-hmm. And, we did, my junior and senior year, have two of our guy friends join the cheerleading squad to help us with stunts, but they were in wrestling, so like football season, they weren't in wrestling or things like that. And I do think people teased him a little bit, but then I think some people really thought, well, it's kind of cool. Look at what the stunts they can do with them.
Yeah.
So they were in both sports, and it's 2022. I do agree with JJ. Somebody's going to open their yap, but I also agree that, you know what, we have to teach our kids that, unfortunately, they're going to be people who don't think openly like we do.
Yeah, this is a good opportunity to teach your son how to face adversity and how to react when somebody isn't completely nice to him. You know what I mean?
Do you think there's going to be some jealousy as well, Jessica, from the guys that don't get to have their hands all over other girls? Probably.
Yeah, I do think so, you know. And not only that, but for the parent perspective, my husband wishes that my kids were more mechanical like he was. You know, I mean, there's certain things where it is hard. You have boys, and then these boys are hands-on, but they want to be hands-on in a different way. And I do see it weigh on my husband, but it's like we have to celebrate what they do bring to the table.
Yeah.
And then also, you know, as a dad, you know, show up and support them. Be there to cheer on the football team and show your son support.
Good call. Hey, thanks for bringing us some levity this morning. I appreciate your time.
Radio Paparazzi.
He was outside LAX and just kind of talking about how he's been taking care of himself.
Yeah, I think for me it's just like about spending time doing things that I haven't really done over the last few years, and just like, you know, having dinners with friends and stuff like.
So the thing is, he canceled his world tour, and his fans are like, oh, I thought you were trying to get yourself together. Why are you partying in Miami? That is helping him.
Yeah.
He is being with people that are genuine. He is
being a kid.
He has been on the road for so long.
A lot of adult expectations when you have a world tour, and you're just, I mean, you got to remember, I mean, he was really kind of in the spotlight when he was like 18, 19.
Yeah. And Justin Bieber did the same thing, and now he's back out on tour. He will hit the road again and sing to you. Don't worry. Bethany Frankel, she is getting crazy amounts of TikTok followers because she's been doing these beauty routines where she is bold enough to show her real face without makeup. And then she does like product reviews. This one, she is not too nice to Kim Kardashian.
It's gigantic. How are you going to travel with this? If you don't have a private plane, you have to be a billionaire to use this product, because if you don't have a private plane, how are you traveling with this? It's just not practical, and I'm a very practical and organized person. This shocks me because don't the Kardashians organize their jelly beans by color?
Yeah, so she was going through just a few products from Kim's SKKN skin line and not exactly impressed. All right, I saved the best for last because I think these kids need to be shown what real rough life is all about. These are the sons, Sean Preston and Jaden James, who secretly recorded their mom, Britney Spears, talking to them like this.
You lost your mind. I do care, but I'm shocked as with you. And I don't know what to do. And I'm scared of you because you're weird, because you're going through puberty. I don't know what to say. But I do care more than you know.
You say I'm weird.
Don't be... My little body can't handle all of that. It's like sometimes I just don't even know what to say with you.
If you really cared, you wouldn't take my phone away.
Oh, God.
For literally.
I was in shock in the store when I looked down, and Jaden, how are you so cool about that? Your brother being with Bear's big feet, size 13 now?
Well, he's my brother.
And all the more. Exposed? His feet, your blood in an ice cream shop in Alaska weather? Don't you think that's a little odd?
No.
Yeah, I think your phone should be
I
off.
literally hear a mom talking to her child who went barefoot with some blood trickling on an ice cream floor in public. That's what I hear. And it doesn't look good for them.
This is no different than the way I talk to my children every day.
It literally does not look good for them, and I don't know why their dad, Kevin Federline, let them put that out there. She's talking to them like a mom that wants them to be looked at in the right way.
Plus, how do you get the trust back when your kids are throwing this stuff out at you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you don't put that back.
And
That's tough.
How could that not make someone feel like they're going insane too, though? Like always feeling like they're being recorded in some way, especially by your kids. That's bad.
Let's begin now.
All right, here we go. Just a tick away from the weekend. Welcome to Thursday. How's Caps?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good. Things are good. Stuck in a neck brace for... Oh, you know what I did, though?
Oh, you are? I didn't even see that.
I broke my neck. I did a whole bunch of research on my own because I'm a doctor.
Sure.
And I looked into a lot of people that have had the same injury as myself.
Mm-hmm.
And they're 6 to 8 weeks in a brace.
Okay.
I was told 12. So here's my goal. To drink and eat as much calcium as I can.
Sure.
Get as much rest as I can. And maybe I can get out of this thing in like halftime.
Yeah. Order some collagen powder. I mean, I drink that like it's my job.
Well, collagen isn't calcium.
It helps with bone strength.
Yeah, but not nearly as much as direct calcium is going to be.
You're not a doctor.
So, yeah, I am, actually. I just said I was a doctor. So that's my goal. My whole next 4 weeks are going to be pound as much calcium and probably be constipated as you know what.
Lovely.
But try and get out of this collar a little bit sooner. What'd you do yesterday? Give me something fun.
We had, Liam had a friend over for a few hours. They did some trampoline stuff, and then they set up zones because Liam had fall baseball evaluation last night. And so or is it fall? No, it's spring.
Spring, summer.
What are we in? What season?
You're almost in fall, but everything is getting ready for the spring next year. It seemed like it was just July.
I can't believe it's August 11th. But yeah, so they worked on batting and stuff like that. And then he had that last night. And I had to just walk around with 9-year-olds and like little ducklings. It was kind of cute. So
my wife looked at me and just said, this is about 4 o'clock yesterday. She looked at me and she said, Reagan and I are going to go do something.
Oh.
Don't ask what, for your own good. And I literally went, okay. And I sat there and watched some Little League Baseball on TV.
Yeah.
What they did is they went and did here's what I need to live as a freshman in the dorms shopping.
No.
And I didn't even ask how much money got spent, but there was load after load after load after
dorm
load
rooms
of
are
stuff.
so small.
That's what I said. I said, I remember living in an 8x10 dorm room where I had a futon and a TV and a laptop, and that was pretty much it.
Oh, you know what they're doing? They saw on TikTok the revamping of dorm rooms and how to make them feel like little mini ski chalet.
I feel like if I've owed you money, or if you're a creditor listening to this show, listen, you ain't going to get it for a long time. It all just sits in my entryway now because she moves in like 2 weeks. I'm like, dang.
Oh, I booked my trip yesterday. We're, and I can say it because I think Liam's sleeping, but we are going to do Universal, and then we're going to rent a car, and we're going to go do one of those airboat gator tours.
Cool.
Yeah, and then we're going to go to Cocoa Beach because we had a really good time. I love all those kitschy shops. And then, I don't know, maybe work in a Canaveral trip. I don't know.
Now, does your husband get to come with for the Florida trip?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going in November. But the thing is, you were quite confident that my $1,500 would get us 3 first-class tickets to Florida. Hell no. I would have to pay another $1,000 on top of that.
What airline is this so expensive?
American, and Delta would be even worse.
Yeah.
What do you want me to take?
I don't know. I just can't imagine that you can't get free round-trip first-class flights to Orlando.
Fuel costs are so incredibly high.
Really?
It made me sad because I really wanted my hot towel.
Why don't you just take the first-class spot?
I was gonna.
That would be.
I was very tempted.
That would be a power move.
Amy M. from Birch was like, "Listen, you have the option. You have the option." I was like, "God, I don't want to be a
You don't
jerk."
come back from something like that.
I know.
I don't think your family will ever look at you the same.
So what started this conversation off air was a post that I saw, and it said, non-sports families, dinner is about 5:30 to 7:30. Sports families, dinner's either at 4:30 or 9:30. Those are your only 2 options.
It's close to bingo.
Yeah, we both said totally true. Where are we going to run into? Where are we going to stop on our way home because we're just too tired to make food at home? But then you were like, I've completely remedied this situation. I keep all my food in the armrest of my car.
Yeah.
And I said, what kind of food, though? And you said power bars.
Yeah.
Which, okay. And then you said some Belvita crackers. But then you said, like, mandarin orange cups.
Yeah. Those last forever, man. And that's a recommended eat-by date on there. You can, those sealed up fruit cups, you can leave in your car for a couple years and they'll be good to eat.
The thing is, I'm not worried about the expiration. I'm worried about the elements that these foods are going through.
A little warmth ain't that bad.
Little warmth. Your car can get up to like 120 degrees. My sister has, and I should have a conversation with her about this because she's going to poison herself, but she has one of those separators, like the plastic ones that you keep people, your kids' underwear in their closet or whatever.
Sure.
And she has like swim stuff in the top one. The second one has pudding cups, Go-Gurts, which I thought were supposed to be refrigerated. Right? Aren't they kept in the refrigerated
I don't know if there's a
aisle?
whole lot of yogurt in those things.
Goldfish baggies, Snyder's pretzel baggies, mini bags, but like a lot of food in her car. where I sit there and I think some days it could get over 120 degrees in your car, and then all of a sudden it'll get cold at night. Those foods are going through a lot.
They're in sealed bags.
They're going to grow bacteria.
They're fine. You don't keep any food in your car for when your kid gets hungry?
No, never. I grab it because I have a forethought. My child's going to be hungry on the way home. I'm going to grab an apple, and so I'll just keep it with me.
My kid will do this all the time, especially with football practice starting in the afternoon now. Like, it'll be, he'll come home from hockey, he'll sleep.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, hey, we got to go. He'll throw his stuff in. I'm like, did you eat anything? Nope. So then I just go in the armrest and I go, take a look. There's the pantry.
No. Lisa texted, I am in the health field and the FDA would completely disagree with the way that you keep your food. Groceries should not be left in a warm car that gets over 90 degrees.
FDA. Who cares? I understand that they got to do that for the masses, but I'm fine.
Lisa, my same thought. I was like, oh my God, they're keeping food constantly in their car.
Do me this. What food is in your car right now? You're telling me if I went out to your car right now, there's no food in there?
Go to my car. There's nothing. I have some tape and I have some rope. And I have
anything else that a killer would have? I'm shocked and a little disturbed to find out that you call yourself a mother and you don't have any food in your car for your child right now?
That is correct. I don't know if I could live with myself because I'm lazy enough to have a ton of food in a car that gets super, super warm and then cold at night and then and the weather that fluctuates.
You know what doesn't care about the weather? Protein. Your body needs to thrive on it. And that's why I've got like 12 protein bars in my truck.
Okay. All right. If you don't care that probably what goes into making a protein bar is going to be perishable.
Ashley, got food in your car. Are you a good parent?
I do have food in my car usually. I have like crackers or like the peanut butter crackers, things like that.
Have you read the wrapper at all? Like, does it advise you to not keep it somewhere where
again those are suggestions? That's the same. It's the same thing as seeing one of those yellow signs that says it's got the little curve and it says 15. Everybody does 25 through that. That's a suggestion.
You know, it was tested on a wet day, right?
By who?
I've tested it, so nothing lasts longer than like 3 days.
So you don't keep it in there for more than 3 days?
Not really, no. Food doesn't last with my kids.
Yeah, I was going to say, I have protein bars in there from last winter yet.
Can you believe that? And he's still munching on it.
Listen, if they're hungry, they'll eat it. It ain't for me. I'm going to do better. But these are my lazy kids where they're like, oh, I didn't have time to have anything. Well, there you go. Dive in.
I just can't believe that.
All right. Have a great day, Ashley. You know what? I bet you Holly over here on line 2, I bet you she's a good mother, and I bet you she has a whole bunch of food in her car.
Actually, I do, because there's 2 reasons for it.
Okay.
All right. First reason, I have kids, and second reason, I've had gastric bypass, so I always have to make sure I have protein on hand, unless I get dizzy if I don't have that on hand. So I always keep jerky, peanut butter, and like 3 bottles of water in my vehicle at all times, and like my bag that, like with the blankets and everything else that you keep in case you break down.
Yeah, like an emergency bag. So in your emergency bag, you got some flares, some jumper cables, blankets, one of those space blankets probably, and then you got some jerky and PB&J, huh?
I'm going to remind you, jerky is a meat, okay?
And water.
And ideal temperature to store that is between 40 and 75. You're telling me on a hot Minnesota day when it gets very warm in your car that nothing is happening to that meat?
I hope not.
I hope not, too. I want you to not get sick and poop your pants.
Is that jerky vacuum sealed?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to last for 20 years.
It doesn't matter.
It'll last for 20 years in there. That jerky is safe. I would, on any given day, dine on that jerky with you, Holly. I'm not such an elitist like Kat that I need something handmade for me all the time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And it's homemade, jerky, and when it's open, and then it does come out with the vehicle, and then I put a new bag in.
There it is. Smart.
Okay.
Smart, Holly. So smart.
You guys deserve each other.
Have a great morning.
Stay healthy. And I believe you're a good mom. I don't believe you're a bad mom.
Better than Kat.
No.
Do you think you're better?
Good morning, guys.
Hey, real quick before you go, do you think you're a better mom than Kat?
Oh, no, I'm not going to compare.
But probably.
I love women like you. We should not answer questions
you guys should tear each other down, not build each other up. I don't know what you're doing over here.
Fix our crowns.
Oh, no. every mom has their strengths and every mom has their weakness.
Yes.
What a pile of garbage.
All I say is if you're doing your best and you love your children more than life, then I love you.
Holly, this jerky's for you. Have a great morning.
Thank you to Leona right away with her advice on how to start a relationship with another couple and befriend them. I'll get to her advice in just a second. So tomorrow we have the Dylan's Hope Charity Golf Tournament that's happening. And I am very excited. It's a lot of money that's raised for mental health for Becker. And so it goes right to the school. And they can help kids that are dealing with mental health issues. And I think it's awesome. So that's why we put our money there. But we never know who we're going to be paired with. Last year, 2 years ago.
You don't get to go with people you know?
Unless you
sign up as a foursome.
But I don't know anybody else. Just Derek and I are going to do it. And then we entrust our friend Sarah to hook us up with whoever that we think would be fun. And so 2 years ago, we got hooked up with this guy named Dewey. And he was awesome.
His real name?
Yeah, Dewey.
In the morning if you walk out on the grass?
Yes, very dewy.
Okay.
And he was awesome. And we just had the bows going. And I never golfed, really. I just kind of would putt every now and then. But now we're paired up with an older couple, but I guess they're cool. They're cool and crazy.
Who said they're cool?
Sarah. And she's cool and crazy.
Right.
So I'm like, okay. She wouldn't hook me up with a lame-o, I don't think. But Derek's like, oh man, I hope they're cool. I hope they're good conversation. So that's kind of and I'm going to say obstacle we face tomorrow because.
Don't you both professionally speak in public? Why would you have to worry about if they're lame?
I don't know.
You're both
professional. I don't want to be stuck with somebody for 18
But you're
holes
both professional communicators.
But what if they're not?
It doesn't. Then that's why it's great that you are. This is your job.
I know. But listen, I could talk all day about Britney Spears and her horrible kids. But when it comes to
you need
making
to know how to
couple
talk
friends,
to the regular folk.
Yeah, like other adults. So
I got two things.
Yeah.
Here's
Give me your advice. I'll get to Leona.
Your two things that you should do. Number one. So were you guys born around here? Did you grow up here? Perfect. Because if they didn't, they're going to tell.
You were asking me. I'm like, you know everything about me.
No. See, that's how well it works.
Yeah.
You want to dig in right away. So you ask them, did you guys grow up around here?
Okay.
And if they did, then you say, well, you know what? I grew up a little ways away. Like, was it like this when you guys were growing up? Was it cooler or is it better now? You know, they'll want to tell you.
Let me write this down.
Old man Simpson used to have a field over there.
Yeah.
And man, we used to go and tip cows. They're going to give you one of those stories. Or there used to be 3 Dairy Queens within earshot. They're going to do something like that.
Okay, born or grow up here.
Grow up here. Then the other one is, did you guys plan winter vacation yet? Where do you guys like to go? Because they will tell you a spot that you probably haven't been. And then you can go, oh, you know what? We're planning this. We're going to do this little trip, and I want to make sure we're going to do this and this. Or you go, oh, I've heard about that.
Wow.
What's one thing I got to do?
Sometimes I think you're a dummy. That was good. 2 of those in a row. Those are
good. Those are the 2 conversation starters for anyone. I do it all the time, mostly because I didn't grow up here. You know what I mean?
Should we do body count? Should I ask them their body count?
That's great. I would.
I win.
That's great.
Anyway.
No, because I didn't grow up around here, and everybody that I seem to get grouped in, like a golf outing, or if you're at a party, a lot of people stay where they, went to school, went to high school and stuff like that. So they got all these things to talk about.
Okay.
So
I like that.
That's the way I like to kick it.
Leona says it is always the case where my husband and I like a person or the other one doesn't, vice versa. I get along with the woman. He doesn't get along with the guy. We have 2 really good couple friends that we hold on to with a death grip. The tip, never talk about politics. Ever.
Oh, yeah. And that's always great to just walk up and be like,
who do you vote for?
What do you think about abortion?
Do you realize how many people do that, though?
Who does that? Upon first meeting, who brings up, what do you think about women's rights?
There are too many people that are so inept, socially inept, that don't realize that is not a conversation unless you are at a convention for anti-abortions. You should not talk to other people about it. No one cares your opinion. No one. I'm being honest. I don't care about your opinion.
I have never once met someone for the first time and they decided to tell me which side of the aisle they're on. Never once.
Wow.
Never.
It's all the time.
Mostly because they probably know at that point, just after looking at me once, that I'm going to go, I don't care.
You know who I get kind of jealous of? And we have somebody I follow, and you know who they are, but they have like so many friends, and they go on these huge trips together. They were just in like the Ozarks, and they're like 4 or 5 couples, and each of them have 4 kids, and it's like this big like family trip that they take. And everyone gets along.
It's kind of what we did in Mexico with my daughter's friends and their folks. And
kind
stuff.
of.
That was fun.
But you didn't get along with all of them.
I got along with everybody. Who didn't I get along with? You don't even know.
Psychiatrist Dr. Stu Varma gave some pretty great advice when it comes to safety and how to deal with your kids and really talk to them about, sadly, the reality that they live in, have to watch out for active shooters, stuff like that. Then on top of it, there's more. There's separation anxiety. There's body image.
Young kids are going to feel like I've spent the whole summer with you and now we're not going to be together. I know the older kids, the teens and tweens may be like, I'm happy to peace out, right? So the younger kids, that separation, if you can create a few moments in the morning to say, listen, we're going to have everything ready. We'll have their lunches packed. Let's just watch some videos for a couple of minutes. Let's laugh. Let's watch something on YouTube or TikTok, whatever feels family friendly to you. Body image issues are a big deal nowadays as young people are on social media and absolutely not living up to standards. So finding them activities that make them feel body confident. Sports are a great way, keeping kids active throughout the summer so that they feel a sense of agency over their body. Finding them clothes that fit if that's an issue. Peer pressure and discussing a lot of this and recognizing that it's going to be evolving in real time, but keeping the door open.
There is a lot going on, especially if you have a young girl, a tween. There's a lot going on upstairs when it comes to body image. All right, so a Pennsylvania woman is accused of using pages out of a spell book to order a car to light on fire.
Old school witchery.
It's not my sister. Do that with her eyes. But the thing is, witnesses told officers that the woman was believed to have been practicing witchcraft, yet she lit something on fire. So it's not like she willed it upon this car to start on fire.
Flicked a match on it.
You will be charged with reckless burning and terroristic threats and simple assault. Yeah, so
if I told you I could put a hex on someone right now, could you give me one? Like a person that you would immediately want a hex put on?
We're not doing this.
No, just could you? I'm just asking if you could.
I could.
There's one human that immediately comes to mind that you would like to hex.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of somebody that I'd want to put a hex on. I can't believe you're such a petty human being.
Look at my hat.
What does it say?
It says petty.
Oh. Alexa, how many animals are in the periodic table?
Scientists estimate there is a total of 8.7 million different species in the world.
It's elements.
I love how you turn her off.
Well, it's nice. Alexa off. Alex, sorry, man. I got to let you go. This thing is... Alexa off.
Appreciate you having me on this morning.
What the hell is going on?
Alexa
off.
She hates us.
Alexa off.
Thanks for streaming KC of St. Cloud.
Who are you saying goodnight to?
Him. Good night.
Who?
Him. Good night.
Jagger, there's no one up there.
Him up there.
Show me.
Him up there. I'm up there.
Jagger, there's no one up there. He's been talking to that vent and then he was blowing it kisses. And I'm creeped out now. Seriously, I'm not joking. I'm so creeped out
You believe in this stuff?
What are they called? I just saw Discovery. What are people called when they hide in your attic or live in your house and you don't even know it? No, it's not flogging. Flogging is where you hit people, right?
Right.
Yeah. No, it's something else, but I'll find it. But yeah, how creepy.
So you're telling me
you need to go up to the attic and you need to see if there is someone, in fact, up there because.
How do they get in the attic?
What do you mean? You're out one day and they just go into your house. They go up into the attic and they set up shop. They bring up some blankets.
You would absolutely know if someone was living in your attic.
No, sometimes you wouldn't.
I don't.
They wait for you. They put some holes in the ceiling so they can see if there's activity and they
You wouldn't notice a hole in the ceiling?
I wouldn't notice a hole in my ceiling unless I was laying down looking up.
You get the hell out of here.
We have a long hallway. If we had somebody come into our house and go up into that square right above the bathroom, I would never, ever know. I never look up there.
You would?
No, I would never know if somebody was living in my attic right there. There's no way.
I know if somebody's been in my house. Absolutely, 100%.
With how many people go in and out of your house,
I know.
How many family members you know?
I can't believe you are actually admitting on the radio that if somebody was living in your attic, you might not know about it.
The placement of that square and the extra room above it, nobody would hear anybody walking.
Number one,
there.
they wouldn't be able to survive in the summer. It's way too hot up there.
Yeah.
Number two, you're telling me they're going to come down daily to use the bathroom, get water, and get food?
They bring a bucket up there. They go to the bathroom up there. They make their own squatting zone.
It
happens so often. There is a show about it. I watched it. It was very
It's a made-up
freaky.
show. They're making this stuff up.
It's a reality show, so it's not made up.
Listen, I challenge any one of our listeners that has had, I'm not even saying your attic, I'm saying your property. Somebody actually living on your property without you knowing it. Call us now. I fail to believe.
I'm not saying it happens often, but it happens enough for them to acquire several people to share their story.
I ain't buying it. I am not buying that somebody could live in your home without you knowing it. I get it when it comes to these celebrities because they're gone for 3 weeks at a time and somebody got past their security system and we're living in another wing of their mansion that nobody ever goes into. I get that. But I find it difficult to believe that anyone could live on your property without you knowing it. What is this called?
I found it. It's called frogging, not flogging, but PHROGGING. That's like where people are unaware, that somebody else is secretly living inside their home. It's on Lifetime.
Destiny, have you heard of this?
I think I've heard of it, but I don't know what it is.
So it's about the stories of people who are unaware that someone was secretly living inside their home. It's on Lifetime. It's so creepy.
This is made up.
No, it's not.
No. You can look on YouTube. There's actually a video of this guy that has security cameras in his house, and he finds this lady coming out from his attic and literally peeing in the sink.
These are exceptional circumstances. These are people that travel 3 months or 3 weeks out of the month, or you've got an extra guest house that nobody goes in unless grandma's staying in. I get it. But like most of us, listen, if you look at the house you live in today, there is no way somebody could live in that house without you knowing it.
I know what video you're talking about. She lives above his kitchen, and then when he leaves for work, she slides the whatever it is open. She gets down, she eats his food. I watched that one.
Oh, yeah, it's creepy. And he didn't know who she was, and by the time he called the police, she was gone.
She walked out like the little girl in The Ring. You know where the hair's over her face? It was weird.
The Playhouse Podcast is made possible thanks to Bradshaw and Bryan Law Offices. Catch the live show weekdays from 5:30 to 9 on 104.7 KCLD. Now, share this with a friend.